Hey there! Did you know Kroger always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Kroger app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Kroger today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Anfield Index Podcast. I am Trev Downey, I'm your host, you know where I am. And I'm joined tonight by Brainch, and only Brainch. So it'll be just the two of us having a little chat for the duration of this particular show. Lisa Marie Hanahan is indisposed, being as she is a dance mom. So we're in the situation of having just the two of us. And let me, before I even welcome Cam in, just address the fact that I'd said there would be new voices. There will. This is purely down to me being disorganised. Nobody has been awkward. Nobody has stood me up. People have been really positive about it, and I've mentioned it to them. And I feel bad. So if you are listening and you're one of those people, I can only apologise. I am an absolute hot mess at the moment in terms of life in general. There's a lot of plates getting spun. That's why things have remained in situ, and they will change. I can see a little bit of a glimpse on the horizon. So with that, let's look at the bright spark on every horizon that is Brainch. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Trevor. How's yourself?
I'm all right, man. Like I say, there's a lot going on, but I'm not, down or despondent. It's just a lot, that kind of way. So there's only so much you can do, and yet it feels like I have that kind of feeling like I should be doing more and not enough hours in the day, and so on and so forth. But look, That's life. Yeah, dude, it seems to be. And like, I hate to say it, right? I hate to say it, but it seems to be particularly so for lads of our vintage, because there's a lot of pressures coming from, all ends of the family and all age groups. And it seems to be the way, right?
Yeah, I mean, life's really catching up with me in terms of the kids growing up. I mean, little man turned 15 this week. And, and it's just like, I was saying to him, I can still remember he was born at 12 on the 20th of November, 2009. And I can remember it was the 19th of February. Sorry, I said November, didn't I? Sorry, 20th of February. And on the 19th of February, when Mrs. B's in labour, I remember saying, I specifically said to her, you've got to wait till the 20th. She's in labour, man. You've got to wait till the 20th. And it's like, and even the midwife, like, look, what's going on? It's my niece's birthday on the 19th. There's no way this kid is showing birthday with his cousin's sister, you know what I mean? Got to wait till the 20th. 12, out he comes, and the kid's amazing. You know what I mean? He's just, I couldn't have wished for a more decent human being as a child, as a son. He doesn't say boo to a goose. He doesn't give us any grief. I think in all the years he's had about 4 tantrums, whatever, and I'm probably exaggerating with 4.
And can I ask you something, Cam? You keep calling him little man, right?
Yeah.
Has he taken that spurt yet where that sounds weird because he's actually the same height as you? Yeah? Has that happened yet?
No, he's not quite. He's taller than his mum, but his mum's not the tallest. He's probably getting as tall as his eldest sister now. He's very much like his dad, a stick, an absolute stick insect, hide behind a lamppost. I had a phone call from one of his teachers this week, another one saying how brilliant he is at school. I've just got nothing but good words to say about the lad. And, it's his birthday. And I said, what do you want for your birthday present? I don't want anything. I'm fine, Dad. He didn't want a thing. He genuinely did not want a thing. And I had to drag it out of him and ended up getting him a little game for his Nintendo Switch. And, and it's just like, he's just that type of lad, you know what I mean? It's just honestly unbelievable. And then we got
there are a lot of parents who are listening to this who are thinking, Brainch has got all my karma because my child is a nightmare. How is this happening? Where did he get this saint from? It sounds great, man. It's always lovely.
Oh, don't worry. The youngest daughter is more than making up for it. So, she's definitely got me on my toes 24/7. So, I can relax with him, but I can't with her. You know what I mean? So it's not all roses. There's plenty of prickly thorns out there.
Well, we like to think we can sort of hide from whatever the stresses are or the difficulties are with the football. It's supposed to be, and I think you and I have a similar attitude. It's supposed to be fun, and that would be our primary attitude with it. But also, I think you and I also share the fact that it's very hard to have any fun with it if the team isn't doing well, and we're both very much get your medals out kind of lads. And it's very, very interesting the way things are lining up currently, because it just seems as if there's a momentum there that I don't think I'm going to say not many people would have predicted it. I'll go out on a limb and for once say that I think I might have actually called this one. When Klopp said that he was leaving, I remember saying, God love anyone coming to Anfield between now and the end of the year. That's just how I felt about it, because I thought that guy's such a galvanising influence. And against Luton there recently, that's very much what it seemed to be. I mean, we don't want to overhype a win over one of the teams that's propping up the league, but given the circumstances, Cam, it did feel very special having to come from behind with all the various, there's a first team's worth of injuries. I've said it now in 2 different shows, Cam. I don't think any of our title rivals can carry that many losses of their top players. No chance, not even City with all their money. And the lot that were there went behind and then rallied. And we were able to bring on kids who are part of the celebrations and part of goals. It all feels so positive, man, at the moment. You just wish it didn't have to come to an end.
Yeah, I mean, let's not go that far ahead. Let's just enjoy what we have now, I say. I mean, I don't want to be thinking of that day come end of May, beginning of June, whenever it's going to be, that, the great man is going to, just turn around, just wave and walk away. I mean, I don't want to think about that yet. I want to think about how great it is right now to be in this moment. And in this moment right now, we've got a group of players, we've got a team behind them, and we've got a team behind them and a team behind them, going all the way to Carol in the canteen, who, and I wish I knew the groundsman's name, who mows, cuts the grass and everything like that. Everybody is contributing to something what could be momentously so special this season in what we could achieve. And I just want to savour every moment of it. I mean, Luton was a prime example of what could have been the ultimate banana skin. They came there and they gave us a really tough game at Kenilworth Road. We were fortunate to get a point that day. Yes, we missed some sitters that day. Núñez with his obvious, missing his glaring simple chances, apparently, that my granny is no longer with us, it could have put away, but that was a potential banana skin on Wednesday night. And, to especially when we went 1-0 down and we just continued to do what we needed to do. And then to see Klopp get so angry in the first half with the crowd because they were moaning at a misplaced pass by Harvey Elliott. And then for Harvey Elliott to come out in the second half, and I thought he was man of the match personally. I know McAllister got it, but I personally thought it was Harvey for the way he turned around in that second half and all the positive stuff he produced on the pitch and the impact he had in everything good we did. And even, on the defensive aspects, he was wonderful and brilliant. So, there's so much good from that game because, like you say, we had 10, 11 players out. And you say, again, how can other teams carry that loss? They're going to struggle. But the kids are stepping up so brilliantly. Your Jarrell Quansers, your Connor Bradleys, your Bobby Clark when he comes in, young Dan's, forgot his first name then. He looked like, got a little bit something there. You can see that. You've got the left back who comes in as well. I've forgotten his name now. Remind me, Trev, what's the young left back who comes in?
Well, I was just going to say, don't forget McConnell. Jaden Dans is who you're thinking of.
Jaden Dans, that's it. McConnell,
young James McConnell as well is fantastic. And there's two guys at left back. There's Callum Scanlon, and the other guy's name is currently escaping me. The guy who got a lecture from Kloppo one evening. We're both having a senior moment. That's fine. People can scream at their devices and feel smug that they know something we don't in the moment. But they'll all forget their shopping list later on. So screw it. But yeah, as you say, you go down through that list of very impressive young footballers. And I feel like I'm repeating myself because I've spoken on Raw about it. I spoke to Jan about it last night. It just feels, doesn't it, like that is really the trophies, I think, are... This is going to sound weird. The trophies, even though they're the most important thing, are probably not the biggest part of Klopp's legacy because there should be, theoretically, I think, more of them. The culture change is really the biggest part, and also now the evolution of and rebuilding of this squad where, like I said to Jan, I don't know who is going to be in the reckoning for the Barca job, the United job, the Bayern Munich job. Well, you do know who's going to be in the reckoning, but I'll tell you what, is Liverpool the most attractive of all of them, perhaps, because of this group of players that Klopp has put together, all at different stages. You've got that thing that I used to read in Roy of the Rovers when I was a kid, that the best thing you can have in a team is a blend of youth and experience. Well, we have all of those things, and ability to burn. Just a shame half the lads are breaking. But it does feel very exciting, that part of it, doesn't it? It really feels like that's really the true testament to Kloppo, is that when he walks away from this job, it's not going to be a poisoned chalice like Arsenal was after Wenger, like United was after Ferguson. This is going to be a job that lads will be literally elbowing each other out of the way to get a go at, because we're well placed. Theoretically, if this season ends how it could possibly end, we're incredibly well placed. If we can stay sitting at the top of the league, we are the best placed. It's a very, very attractive job, and what a testament that is to Kloppo, and coming from such a low ebb last year to putting that last burst in now. And maybe if he does walk, when he does walk, what a place he's leaving behind, man.
Yes, I mean, you mentioned culture there, and I was reading a couple of articles on Anfield Index today about the academy and the culture that's been developed there. They have a driving clause. You cannot drive a car that is more than 1.3 litres in the engine size. So you're not going to get flash cars there for these academy kids. They're only on the maximum wage they'll earn is £50,000 a week. £50,000 a year, sorry. Not a week. £50,000 a year. They're very much about keeping everybody grounded. If you come in wearing a flash watch, you're going to get pulled up on it. If you're going to fail at the club, fail for football reasons, not for any other reason. That should be the only reason you're failing. And the reason you then succeed at the club is for footballing reasons. And this is a culture that's been instilled by Alex Inglethorpe and possibly Pep Linders as well, I think deserves a bit of credit here as well. And they're saying they reckon that the academy alone and the talent they've got there, if you look at the average squad player, and we're just talking squad player, is probably worth between 15 and 25 million. They reckon they've got £300 million worth of talent in the academy along with the wages. That's phenomenal. And that is what somebody walking in to this club who's going to take over from Klopp, whether it be Amaron, whether it be Alonso, whether it be Tommy Tuchel, who's being linked with the club, along with the sporting directors that are going to be coming into the club, they're going to be looking at that academy and saying, wow, we've got a foundation here. We've got something to work with. We've got something that can build this club and make it even better than what it is today. So the future is actually really, really positive because of all these youngsters who are coming in. I think Klopp has introduced more academy players in his tenure than any other manager in the Premier League. He's given them their debuts. Whether they've gone on and become something is a side issue, because the point is he's still prepared to bring on these youngsters. Granted, in the first season, he used to look around at his bench and think, I've got nothing to bring on but academy players. So the numbers somebody's going to be screaming at the radio. I'm using quotation marks there. The first season, that's all he had. He had nothing else. But the point is, he still had them, and he still had to use them, and he still helped those minutes that they were getting on the pitch, like those minutes that those youngsters were getting on the pitch against Luton on Wednesday. They're invaluable, and they will mean so much to them. And being there in that crowd with that atmosphere as well, and feeling that, of course, and wanting that as well to be a part of that is something as well. Sorry, go on.
Are you that person who has everything? The coolest merch and those must-have fan threads? Well, over at our Anfield Index shop, we've gone that extra mile when it comes to pimping up your Liverpool collection. From our popular range of bespoke design t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies and hats, to our signature edition mugs, prints and coasters, all provided with fast worldwide shipping. We have something for every red. We also stock official LFC merchandise and are licensed with the Premier League and UEFA to sell official iron-on shirt badges and sleeve patches. As a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off everything with coupon code AIPRO10. Just head over to AnfieldIndex.shop or find us on Etsy by searching for Anfield Index.
No, I can imagine that must be incredibly intoxicating to actually be part of that. And that's kind of on a tangent there. I was remembering, in those early days, you remember Jordan Ibe was one of the guys. Remember Klopp running out into the middle of giving him a hug and Ibe and this kind of stuff. Like, it's just that kind of fondness for these up and comers is great, but it feels like it's kind of come to a bit of a critical mass now. You're looking at a potential post Klopp team that could have 4 or 5 of those guys in a team in that first team. It's really, really possible. The thing I was going to say was, and this gets back to ties in nicely what you were talking about, celebrations, all the rest of it. There was a fantastic photograph taken after Harvey Elliott's goal, the 4th one on the night in the 89th minute, which showed a selection of lads celebrating, all of them academy boys, and it was just fantastic to see. It was like, holy shit, that's a real thing that just happened there tonight. We came from behind and we kept playing till the final whistle like we do. And as you said, Harvey Elliott turned it around from having had a frustrating time in the first half with final balls and all the rest of it, to really being one of the drivers in that second half, along with Conor Bradley in the early part of that second half. And then you've got Bobby Clark and Jayden Danns, who almost had an assist for himself for Cody Gakpo, but it's when the ball breaks from that Jayden Danns pass from Cody to Cody Gakpo, that's when Harvey steps up and curls it so majestically into the top corner. But that photograph said a lot to me. There wasn't a single established first team kind of regular there, because Harvey's still not that. And I just thought, wow, it really is a testament. And it did, you could say, I suppose there's a pessimistic way of looking at it. I don't know about you, but I really now, and this isn't a preachy thing, or you do you on social media. If you want to be very downbeat and pessimistic, for some people it's actually just their shtick. I think they do it almost sometimes for superstitious reasons. If I'm being quite honest, some people I know and I've been quite fond of, they do the whole abject pessimism thing, I think, for almost out of superstition at this point. But it was really, it was grim viewing to flick on to the Twitters before when the injuries were announced, and during in the first half when things weren't going quite right, and it was all this kind of, it's all over now. And I'm not claiming any higher moral ground, but like, when do people start to believe in Jürgen Klopp teams? When's it ever going to happen? If it doesn't happen now, it probably is never going to happen for those poor bastards. And I feel sorry for them, because I was sitting there thinking, it would be. I really don't like Luton, and I would really like to go out in the second half and really hand them their arses. And I felt confident that might happen, even with the limited options that we had in the bench. And my God, they were limited. I just felt it might happen, because in a way, they're not that limited. These are good lads coming on, and it's just so encouraging. We'll talk in a little while about the fact that it may end up being a bridge too far, with so many world-class and superb footballers unavailable to us over the next while. But if ever there was an indicator that we may actually have enough about us to get through this, it was that Luton win. It felt kind of really special. And I believe, talking to Harry Sethi afterwards, that the atmosphere was absolutely outrageous, electric, especially in that second half, Cam. It's going to be hugely important to us, that part of things.
It is, yeah. I'm just going to touch on something you mentioned there about, the negativity at half-time. And I'm not saying folks were being negative so much, but I'm in one of the AI footy WhatsApp groups. I think you may be in that one as well. And I posted something at 8:25. Final third, we've been piss poor, just offering nothing. Expect fireworks second half.
Yeah.
It was there.
Yeah.
It was there. And did you enjoy the fireworks? I certainly did. So, and that second half then, those fireworks led to that atmosphere. That start of the second half, we came out like a house on fire. And by being like that, that lifted the crowd. And when that crowd gets going, when that atmosphere really gets going in that stadium, under the lights, let me emphasize this now, it's always under the lights. You get that electric atmosphere. Very rare do you get it, on a Saturday afternoon at a 12:30 kickoff or a 3:00 kickoff. It's usually under the lights. You get that atmosphere, and when it goes off in that stadium, there's no better place to be in this world. I mean, I was in Anfield Road, the new Anfield Road end for the Arsenal game. It was amazing. I was there for the Burnley game. It was really, really good. Wasn't as good as the Arsenal game. You could feel it coming through your TV screens on Wednesday. I've been in that ground for some really amazing atmosphere. I've been in that ground when you could hear a pin drop. But when it gets going, this is why Ryan Edwards, the Luton manager, said afterwards, he said the crowd, the atmosphere, Anfield destroyed us literally. We couldn't cope with it, and my players didn't know how to handle that ultimately. That's how important that atmosphere is, and that if we can carry that through all the way to the end of the season, those trophies that you said sort of don't really mean anything, but they do. That's what we could be seeing then. The crowd has got so much to play in this going forward.
They do, and you know where I'm going with the trophies thing, because I'm a bottom line. Yeah. Bottom line is, like I said to you right at the start, I think we're both the same. The bottom line, the only way you can judge success is by winning things. That's how you judge success, and it's about medals and trophies, and we're all part of a slightly different world of participation medals now and all the rest of it. And we have in the fan base, I think, predominantly from the younger part of it, a kind of attitude sometimes of, just enjoy it, just enjoy it. And I mean, I don't need to be preached at by somebody who's half my age telling me to just enjoy it. I've been enjoying it for a lot longer than you've been alive, possibly. And the thing I enjoy the most is when we win the shiny metal thing. That's when I can really have my proper enjoyment, and no one will enjoy that shit more than me, I will tell you that. And it feels, Cam, like there may be a few shiny objects at the end of this season if things line up, if we can have a little bit less bad fortune injuries, if we can possibly speed up the recovery process for one or two of our really important lads. It feels like that may manifest at the end of the year, and then I think we will have a total a collection that we can say is worthy of the magnificent contribution and culture shift that Jürgen Klopp has been responsible for at Liverpool. And that's all. That's really, I mean, I want it for myself, but I really do want it for him and these guys. And this is something I want to talk to you about, because I wonder sometimes you'll have a load of mates who are fans of different clubs and all the rest of it, like I do.
Yeah.
And I will be honest with you, I recently brought a pal of mine over, and he's not a Liverpool fan. He was entirely blown away by the atmosphere. He could not get his head around it. He was loving it. Couldn't wait for the fist bumps at the end from Klopp, all those things, literally reveling in it. To say that the club that he supports is a rival club would be an underestimation.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
Right. It's your bestie, the Man City fan.
And the guy was absolutely loving the whole experience, and it was hard not to, because the place was alive. It was a different kind of buzz than the buzz that was evident in the place for the second half against Luton there in the midweek. Yeah, because Liverpool were so good from the off. It was just it was almost like a carnival atmosphere, and there was loads of brilliant referee hatred that you can get into as well, and loads to celebrate, and hero worship to take part in with Darwin Núñez and stuff like that. So it was just a super occasion. And I just think, I wonder, this is a very long-winded, man, but I'm getting to the point. Do you think that the average fan, not the lads necessarily you get microphones put in front of them, but the average fan would have that kind of attitude to the Anfield experience, to Jürgen Klopp, to Liverpool as a club and stuff like that? Because I'd like to think that's the case, because I don't think I'm being overly sentimental. I think it's objectively fantastic and enviable. I would imagine it's very enviable. I would imagine it's something that all fans would want, to have that connection between fans and players, and fans and manager and players, and to be able to see that so manifestly every game. I don't know. It just feels like that would be something that everyone would want. And I'm not saying that from a smug point of view. I mean, what's your experience of that? Is it more bitterness and sort of snide comments that you experience, or do you think people actually genuinely kind of even secretly really, really do envy it?
Hello, I'm here to annoy you. I'm here to annoy you into listening to more of me and more of others on EPL Index. We don't just have the Anfield Index stuff. We've got EPL Index as well, which covers the entirety of the Premier League. And we have 3 podcasts and a whole bunch of really good writing on EPLindex.com. The podcasts are my own Two-Footed podcast, which is every day at 4 p.m, Monday through Friday, covering the whole league. We have A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. You know Tadiwa, he does Anfield Index. He presents A Tad Predictable before every Premier League match week. And then Kevin DeVries and his crew on the EPL Roundtable, they're every week after the Premier League match week. So make sure you listen to everything we're doing on EPL Index and follow us there on Twitter at EPL Index. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I think they envy it, ultimately. Isn't there that flag on the cup or the banner, whatever you want to call it? Imagine being us.
Yeah. That's quite smug, all right, but I do love it.
Yeah, but it's correct. There's nothing wrong in what that says, because it sums it up perfectly. They can only imagine being us, and that's what happened to your mate when he saw what it really was. And you do hear, not bitter and not rose-tinted spectacle fans, talking on these, on these other outlets, saying some of them will say, "Wow, that atmosphere was something else."
Yeah,
those fans are something else.
Yeah,
you do get it. I mean, we don't have to manufacture anything. It's genuine. It's real. It's from the heart. We don't have to have somebody with a microphone saying, "Right, now let's sing this song, people," or whatever they do.
Yeah.
We don't need that. The cop sets it off. The rest of it goes on. Yeah, you're going to get a bit of the prawn sandwich brigade in the main grandstand. That's inevitable. They're spending £8,000-9,000 a year just for their tickets. That these are people who are, who do really well for themselves, and they're very fortunate to be in a position to be able to, have those seats. I'm envious of them. I'd love to have those seats. Don't get me wrong, but tell you what, being in the Cup when it's rocking. Perfect example for that for me was the Champions League game against Man City when we beat them 3-0. Before the game, the bottles were smashing the coach up, unfortunately. The atmosphere that day in the Cup, oh my God. The hairs on the back of my neck, I'm telling you, Trev, something else. That was something else. I mean, I've been blessed. I've been so lucky. And it's like when I say to my friends who are fans of other clubs, I was at this game, I was at that game, and I've got like a twinkle in my eye, and they're just sort of like, bastard. He's a fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got it. They haven't got it. I can't think. I mean, some of the European clubs have it, without a doubt. You look at some of these European clubs, some of the Turkish clubs, some of the French clubs, and the Dortmund have it, without a doubt. Dortmund have it, and
Celtic seem to have it.
Celtic seem to have it as well. I was going there as well. Funny that Dortmund and Celtic, they got Liverpool. I wonder what they have in common. But anyway, but you could see. I look at some of these, especially some of these Turkish stadiums, and the way they have the atmosphere. Like Galatasaray, Fenerbahce. They seem to produce some atmospheres in them. Marseille used to do it on a regular. Marseille were fire back in the day. I can see. I think Feyenoord might have it as well. Their fans, I think they've got some oomph in their belly. You know what I mean? So but there's only a few. There's not that many. I mean, who else in England has it? Which other Premier League has it to the extent we have it. They don't. Palace create a good atmosphere. I'll give Palace. I like what I hear there, but I don't hear it enough. Palace fans, I think they're great. I think they, through thick and thin, they produce a good atmosphere at Selhurst Park. And I think if they ever move to another stadium, they may lose what they have there, because it's a traditional old school ground, isn't it? And you create an atmosphere in those. You don't create an atmosphere in a bowl, I don't think. I think that's what we've been lucky with our owners who've, maintained that traditional stadium feel with what we have. And that helps as well, because I think they very much look at the acoustics of when they've designed the stadiums to make or to do those two stands to ensure, the sound does bounce off the roof really well and helps. And that's a big thing.
It's a semi-religious experience, if not full on. I'm not, obviously,
Anfield's my church, Trev.
Yeah, dude, I was brought up the most Catholic little man in the world. We basically went to mass like it was an Olympic sport. Proper Irish Catholic holy rollers. And when you fall away from that, you fall hard. Now I've never gone full into the bleak atheism thing, but I do you get a spiritual charge when you're part of something in a big group that's positive. And standing on the Kop when it's absolutely hair on the back of your neck, lively, is something it's unrivaled for me. I can't think of anything better than that. If you were to ask me, list the places you'd like to be, I can't think of a better thing. I can't think of a better place to be standing, a better feeling to be feeling. And it's magical. It's intoxicating. It's but like you mentioned Rob Edwards there, the Luton guy saying about how he was so impressed with the atmosphere. We've all seen the video of Arsene Wenger and Jose Mourinho looking out through the glass and going.
That was me. That was me.
Yeah, that was you. They were in awe of you.
Yeah. And Harinder, and Aman, and Tel, and Indy, and Balla. That was all of us.
You know what, by the way, just a shout out, because I know Harinder listens on occasion, and I had the great pleasure of joining him and his lovely wife and the extended crew of Aman Singhi and all the rest of the boys towards the end for Bobby Firmino's game. And this actually works perfectly here into this conversation, because that was absolutely unbelievable to be a part of. And it was kind of almost like a no-mark occasion in many ways. And yet, Jesus Christ, the love was unbelievable. The concourse at halftime with the Firmino songs, constant, never stopped. It never stopped. And the genuine connection there at the end, I just don't think that kind of stuff is replicated elsewhere to that extent. And you mentioned some of those great clubs, foreign clubs that have these very intimidating atmospheres. Do you remember that one? I think it was on the way to the Champions League of 2005. Was that Galatasaray? Was that the Olympiacos? Wasn't it the
Olympiacos 3-1?
Was it them, or was it Galatasaray a year later where we got the "Welcome to Hell" banner?
That would have been Galatasaray.
Yeah, we went to the away and I was "Welcome to Hell," and then there was a banner on the Kop in the return leg. It was "Hell." Have you tried the Grafton on a Friday night or something like that? It was "Welcome to Hell." I just thought that's us saying, right, yeah, you're great, very good, very impressive, loud bunch of lads. We'll show you how it's done when we get back to ours. And it just has that lovely feeling. Obviously, like you said, there are different parts of the ground. There are different profiles of fan. Yeah. But it just feels like, I think, a little bit extra special at the moment, a little bit. I was just hoping, the only thing I thought could go wrong was if it all gets a bit too sentimental and people start feeling a little bit sorry for themselves if a result or two went the wrong way. It could get a bit grim. I just don't feel that that's likely to happen. And
well, it got a bit grim after the Arsenal result.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, that's it now. The title race is over. We're not going to do it. We're not there.
Did it, though, like, Did it? I mean, amongst certain people, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I get why, because it was like, City had a game in hand and this, that, and the other, and it's like, we've got a gazillion injuries, and you can understand why.
But did you not think it was mostly media-led, that it was like everyone, like they couldn't wait to say now, Arsenal are back as favourites or something. I'm like, hang on, they're fucking fine.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think an awful lot of that, people are very suggestible, you see. And I think, whereas I'm not the kind of lad you're going to be able to hypnotise. I might be a bit stubborn, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I've kind of got this mental set that, you don't ever write off this club under Jürgen Klopp, ever, until the final whistle is fucking gone. Don't write them off. How many fucking times do you need to see it before you believe that? So I always have that default sort of, oh shit, we're 2-0 down, are we? Okay, well, let's just see what happens in the second half. And time and again, you're proven to be. It's almost like people talk to you on Twitter afterwards like you're some sort of fucking Nostradamus. I'm like, no, that's what we do. Like, did you not notice that yet?
That's the mad thing, though, isn't it? Because the thing is, he's been here 8 years, coming on 9 as such, but it's going to be 8.5 years, whatever it's going to be. And it's like, we still doubt, even though we should believe.
Yeah.
I mean, what part of that are you not getting even now? If you still doubt it, doesn't matter if we win the league or not this season. It really doesn't. We should never have been challenging for the league. That's what I'm going with. That I'm not saying it doesn't matter in that in that respect, but we should never have been challenging for the league. The fact that we are top after 26 games with a nice little healthy goal difference as well with it, considering where we finished last season to be in the position we are, that's down to pretty much one person and one person only.
And can I just come in here, because I think you said something there that you don't actually believe, where you said it doesn't matter if we don't win the league. It fucking does, man.
No, as in, the way I'm saying it is from where we were last season.
Yeah, sure. It's a progress level we couldn't have possibly expected.
Exactly.
I agree with you entirely.
Yeah.
But now that it is,
now that we're there,
that's right. Yeah. Like when it was City have the game in hand. All right, okay. And then when it was City have the game in hand and they can go level, and then when it was City have the game in hand, they can go ahead. But now they can win their fucking game in hand and we still have a point. And we actually have a bigger goal difference as well if it came down to that. It just feels like, okay, I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard the phrase, it's City's title to lose. Despite the fact that Liverpool have been leading the league. And it's not that I don't understand the logic behind that. It's not that I don't understand the enormity of the challenge that Liverpool have to take on City every year. It's well, quite frankly, there's a lot of things you could say about it, but the main thing you'd have to say about it is it's actually unfair, and it shouldn't be the way it is. But it is, and we raise our heads and get on with it. We go toe to toe with those fuckers, and sometimes they eke out by dint of their massive advantage a 1 point victory in the league when both teams have achieved absurd points totals on a couple of occasions, and they've won out. They've pipped us on a couple of occasions. They've managed finally to get a Champions League over the line after all Guardiola's arrogance and bullshit. They finally got one over the line last year. Now they think they're great. That's fantastic. Maybe that might derail them a little bit. Maybe that'll get into his head a little bit. I don't know really whether it will or not. If De Bruyne and Haaland are as very, very good as they can be between now and the end of the season, it's going to be very difficult for us. Of course it is. But it feels so brilliant to be able to say, like we have been able to say for quite a while, people just didn't want to believe it, that it's actually in our hands, Cam. What a tribute to this group.
And that's exactly it. It's in our hands. And it was, even when we lost to Arsenal, it was still in our hands.
Yeah.
Even though City had a game in hand, it was still in our hands because City have still got to come to Anfield.
Exactly. That's what I couldn't understand. Everyone.
This is where my bewilderment with everything was, because I was like, "Are you not seeing the elephant in the room here? They've got to come to Anfield. Anfield. Wednesday nights, Anfield, because that's what it's going to be, that game. That is what it's going to be on that game. It has to be. If it's not that, City can do untold damage without a doubt. The 12th man is the most important man on that pitch come the City game. Honestly, there's a reason there's a pub outside Anfield called the 12th man.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac, and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Most important player.
I would give anything to be at that game. I've considered getting a Ryanair flight over to get a few bottles of that Bulmer's summer fruits just to fire at the city coach to make me feel like
it was Copperberg, which was really upsetting. I could have drank that. You know, I mean, people, why waste a decent Sorry, Baji. I know. But once in a blue moon, you know. So
have you just apologized live to Harinder on the air here? Have you?
You know, it has to be done. So,
hey mate, guess what's just after coming into my brain is so stupid. Things just pop in. Remember earlier on we were trying to think of. It's Owen Beck. You were trying to think of Luke Chow.
Owen Beck, yeah, that's it.
Owen Beck. Hey, we got there eventually.
Yeah, we got there. Dude. I'm just looking at the City games, the 10th of March.
I know. But like if it's that Anfield and we have some of our players back, this is the big thing, right? We need to address a couple of elephants in a couple of rooms before we run out of time here, because I don't want to keep you late, and we have done 3/4 of an hour. So
yeah,
in the last 10 or 15 here, let's talk about a couple of things. Two things I want to talk about, like specific things that have happened. One that happened today was the Europa League draw. And that's a very interesting looking thing. And to me, Cam, it looks as if an awful lot of the bigger clubs have kind of been kept away. No, that's not fair. That's probably not fair. There is Marseille and Villarreal. Roma do play Brighton in terms of teams that may have a chance. Milan have Slavia Prague, who are in second place in the Czech league. And we have Sparta Prague, who are top of the Czech league. And I think, you know, I'm never one to say I think that's a really good draw for Liverpool. I think maybe it's a superstition thing that I have. I have a lot of bullshit superstitions that I got rid of. There could be a few hanging around. I always feel a bit awkward about saying it's a good draw or it's a bad draw. What I will say is we're going to have to beat the best that this bundle has to offer at some point if we're going to win this thing, if we're going to get as far as Dublin in May. And I guess going to Sparta Prague, like I say, who are top of the Czech league, I went and had a look at their squad, and I can honestly say that I only recognise about two of those guys. That's probably more of a reflection of my lack of knowledge about European football. But you'd like it. You just, even if we are a little bit depleted, like I say, almost every week in the Premier League, that Liverpool team should beat that opposition team. So that's where I'm at. And then you've got, like I say, it's going to be either Marseille or Villarreal. It's going to be Leverkusen or Karabakh. Loads of people are fantasizing about both Liverpool and Leverkusen getting as far as the final. I don't know why. People like narratives, I guess. I was actually quietly hoping for Rangers, because I think it was going to be really close in terms of travel, and a team that we absolutely should be able to beat. That's what I was hoping was the draw. West Ham or Freiburg will get through. Roma or Brighton will get through. Sporting or Atalanta will get through, and Milan or Slavia. So there's going to be one way or the other in the next round, which I think is a kind of a randomly put together. It's a draw, I think. That's going to be, there's going to be, we're narrowing down. We're getting into solid teams. But when you look at that bundle, Cam, unless the injuries really, really stay bad, Liverpool are the best squad that's left there, man.
Liverpool and Leverkusen.
I know Leverkusen are doing this incredible thing at the top of the Bundesliga under Xabi Alonso. I get that. But I just think, sort of objectively, if we can get certainly if we can get Mo and Darwin back, and maybe get Curtis back into the loop as well, Ali. But I don't think we're going to have any of them for that, are we? Because that's...
I think Ali's out to the next international break.
Yeah.
Which is just after this round.
What was the news on Trent in terms of that? He's the same sort of...
Yeah, he's the same sort of timescale. There's Don might be back by then. Possibly they're talking about him being on the bench or in the squad this weekend even. So that's a big boost. Curtis, I don't know how long he's out for. Obviously, Jota's long term, isn't he? Realistically, looking at that, we should go through that round. There's no reason why we shouldn't. Without being not disrespectful to Sparta Prague, that's we've got a pretty decent draw there. It's only a couple of hours flight to Prague as well, so it's not. We're not going to Turkmenistan or whatever like that, Uzbekistan or anything. One of these far-flung old Russian states that cause horrendous travel issues. So they'll be going in a private jet. I mean, nowadays it's that they'll be fine on the travel aspect of it. So. It would be nice if it was an early kickoff on the Thursday the 7th rather than the 8 o'clock kickoff, just to give us that couple of extra hours, because that City game has been moved forward 45 minutes as well. It's a 3:45 kickoff rather than the 4:30 on Sunday. So just little things like that can have an impact. It shouldn't do. I mean, people say we're going all sports science here and all that, but these things do have an impact. Every little minute gives the players that little bit of rest that they need. So
you heard, maybe you didn't. Pep Linders was talking about managing the players back to recovery. I thought he spoke very well. He was just talking about how managing recovery is every bit as important as preparing almost for the games, because you have to respect each person's recovery process, and you have to absolutely maximize rest when it's needed, hard work when it's needed, all those kind of things. And we have this sort of nightmare scenario, like I said to you right back at the top. Who else can lose Trent Alexander-Arnold, probably the best in the world in his position, Alisson Becker, the best in the world in his position, Curtis Jones, an absolute nailed-on starter in midfield, Mo Salah, Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota, who would get into any Premier League team, all of them. It's too much. It's not fair. Dominic Szoboszlai, who's been our best footballer for the early part of the season, who's really, really settled in, has come back and started recapturing some of that form in recent games before the injury. It's such a cruel blow. But I think we have enough in terms of we get Mo back just to kind of to dovetail with Jota being out. That will do for me. If we get Darwin back in the loop over the next week or two, that'll do for me. Dom over the next week or two, that'll do for me. Trent will be okay whenever he comes back. We've got Joe Gomez and we've got the wonder kid that is Connor Bradley. We're doing okay. I think we can carry ourselves through these games. It's a huge ask to go tomorrow and try and win a cup final against. People are saying they're resurgent. They've had a couple of good results and a couple of bad results, but they seem to be trying to find a way of playing Chelsea. It's going to be a big ask with the players we have available tomorrow, I think, regardless of where Chelsea are in the table, because it's a final.
It's a cup final, yeah. I mean, anything can happen on Sunday. Nothing's a given. Chelsea are Chelsea. They're still a force to be reckoned with, regardless of how good or bad they've been playing this season. You can see that, again, they've got a lot of good youngsters. Cole Palmer is a wonderful football player. Such a joy to watch. He's magnificent. The two centre-backs against City were brilliant. I can't pronounce one of the guys' names, but Colwell and the other chap, he was phenomenal. They got some good players in that team, and they're no mugs at the end of the day. I know people have been laughing at Moises because they don't think he's been that good this season. He's actually not been that bad either. He's quite high up there in the interceptions and tackles and everything else that goes with it in doing the job that he needs to do. So he's not. Yes, he's had a few poor moments, but overall he's been quite good. So if their strikers suddenly click, Jackson and Nkunku, they're good players. We shouldn't be counting any chickens. That's for sure. And I don't think we will be.
No, and I don't think people are going to... some people will. Some people will lean into the recent result against Chelsea and say, well, we're so much better than them. And honestly, it should have been 6-7-1 on the night, I thought. But you mentioned Colwell and Disasi. They're very good. Chilwell. Yeah, Chilwell and Gusto are very good fullbacks.
Yeah. Gusto as well. Yeah.
How long do people think Moises Caicedo is going to play within himself? Enzo Fernandez is going to play within himself. At some point, those two are going to click and they're going to be world class, because they are world class.
Yeah.
There's also, you mentioned Cole Palmer. They've got Sterling, who I think scored against City, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
And Conor Gallagher, Jackson, and Nkunku looks great to me as well.
Yeah.
I think, their squad possibly isn't as deep as it used to be. It depends on whether Mudryk is capable of coming on and doing some madnesses. But apart from that, it's not just as deep as it was in previous seasons. But I'll tell you, it's going to be a very, very big challenge. Obviously, it's a final now, so nobody gives a crap about anything. You're all in. You want to see Liverpool win it. You want to see another Queven Kelleher narrative being written about how he leads us to this trophy. Whatever the story happens to be, that's what I want to happen on Sunday. But we come straight out of it and into a game against Southampton, and I know the quadruple's there. Like anything is there as long as you're in it. Part of me would be so tempted to just say, look, everyone have a rest, and if we see who turns up on the night, anyone's interested in playing against Southampton, fine. I kind of feel like binning it off, and I know that's going to rub you the wrong way. You're an FA Cup, you're an FA Cup man, and you know what the thing about it is, that impulse from me doesn't make any sense, because the best thing about us and the best way for us to be is playing in a rhythm. Midweek weekend. Again, that's another thing that people don't seem to get. When we get a week off, it's not always good.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said it. We have a week off and we seem to play so poor. We lose our rhythm so quick. It's shocking, and it's baffling as to why. Because you'd think, how can you lose a rhythm like that? You're just going out and you're playing football. You know what you're doing. It's second nature to these guys, but somehow they do, and we always seem to struggle after we've had time off. Always. And I don't like it. I like the hurly-burly of it. I like the intensity. I like the thick and the fastness of it all. And, and you waiting, and it seems to take an edge off the fans as well. Waiting just for another game, just waiting. You think, oh no, I've got a whole week. Oh, where's that midweek game? And I was so glad we played on Wednesday, because I couldn't imagine waiting a whole week for this cup final.
That's it. It just feels so addictive, and it's quite Moorish, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just want game after game, because this is my reaction after watching the Kloppo fist bumps was, hey, literally lap this up, lads, because this is going away. It'll take a different form, but this beautiful thing is going away, and there's an opportunity for us to really, really finish on the most spectacular of highs. And I hear these conversations. Well, I almost went there myself a few minutes ago. I had to catch myself. But you hear these conversations like, which would you go for? If you if you could only win 2 trophies, would you? If you could only win one, win the league or win the cups? All those conversations. Now, I think I've actually posed these questions to you on a podcast before, when it was further away and less likely.
Yeah.
But this is going to sound awful and probably entitled if you're a Burnley fan or something, but my condolences if that's the situation. I'm a Liverpool fan and I am entitled. I may have said this before. I'm fucking entitled, and I wear that entitlement, not in an arrogant way, but in an absolute, I'm openly admit it. Yes, I feel like this is what we should be doing. So I've gone so bad, Cam, that it's not just I want all the 4 trophies. I actually want the semi-final against AC Milan, so I have a chance, possibly in a mad world, to go and get a game in the San Siro before it closes. This is how entitled I am. I'm trying to design a course to Dublin. So I think it's good to dream, though. You know what I mean? I think it's good to dream. Why not? What's the downside? What is the downside?
There is no downside. There is no downside. That's
disappointment
the point,
happens anyway, despite your best effort. So,
yeah, I mean, some fans just dream of seeing their team score a goal. Some fans just dream of their team, keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah,
we dream of visiting the best stadium in the world.
Do you know anyone going to Anfield South on Sunday?
Yeah, quite a few.
Good. Well,
quite a few, yeah.
If it's the people I think it is, tell them that I wish them well, and I hope they bring.
Oh, they'll listen. They're listening. Don't worry.
I hope they're bringing home the bacon, because we deserve a nice bacon sandwich, and I'm looking forward very much to Sunday. I have to say, that's the thing, Cam. Let's finish on this note. Isn't it just fucking brilliant to be, like you said a few minutes ago, kind of jonesing for the next game? You're really looking forward to it, because you want to see what these lads are going to do next.
Can't wait.
That's where you feel kind of spoiled.
This is where I was in my mind. I was thinking about this. Well, throughout this podcast, I was just thinking about some of these academy players. Imagine we had these players on the pitch: Owen Beck, Jarrell Quansah, Joe Gomez, Conor Bradley, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Bobby Curtis, Harvey Elliott. That's 8 players who've been in the academy or around the academy. I know Joe Gomez probably didn't really go in the academy. He was signed from Charlton. But 8 players. and then add in there Dan's.
Jane Dans and Kate Gordon and
Gordon.
Who knows, maybe some of those multiple left backs we mentioned. Neone is a hugely highly rated kid as well. There is
just imagine we finished the game with 7 or 8 of those on the pitch.
Sunday's game is probably a stretch, but we could potentially finish with as many as were on the pitch against Luton. That could happen. Yeah, it all depends. I think everybody probably best brace themselves for, the potential that Mo and Darwin don't make it, and that Dom doesn't make it. We got to be ready for that, because otherwise, the reason I'm saying that is that otherwise people are they're just going to get all depressed again. And it's a cup final day. Like I say, just have some ice cream. Have a laugh. This is the good stuff. This is, like you said, what every other team dreams of. We have an opportunity to drive all the way to 4 trophies this season. And the biggest of them all is that league. We're sitting top of it. Before we speak again, there'll be those 2 cup games, but we'll then be looking ahead to a huge game against Forest in the league by the time we're next speaking, and hopefully reflecting on progress in the FA Cup and the first pot in the press of the season. It's an exciting time to be alive, my friend, and I look forward to our chat next week. We'll have Lisa Marie back in the loop, and hopefully maybe 1 or 2 others involved as well, especially if it's a celebratory looking back on a trophy win. But I want to wrap it up there. I want to give last word to you, man.
Another enjoyable pod, I must admit. It's different, isn't it, when it's just the 2 of us? So, it's like when you and Lisa Marie are doing it. It's always... It's very fast, isn't it? So I really enjoy these.
It's amazing how quickly the hour goes.
So, big shout out to AI, all things AI. Please get on the websites for AI and EPL as well. I mean, like I said, I was reading a couple of the articles today, and some of them were just like, wow. Yeah, I mean, picked up with, how would I have known all that stuff about the academy otherwise? It just worked out nicely for today's podcast. So, big shout out to AI. Please, people, keep pushing it. We appreciate you all.
And we appreciate Cam Brainch. I'm sure you agree, listeners. A tremendous man. Great to have a chat with him on a one-to-one basis. And we will, like we say, look forward to hopefully a happy chat, looking back on some success. And this time next week, regardless, we will be battling on for all the trophies that remain within the Reds' grasp by that stage. And it's just an exciting time. And I hope people are genuinely enjoying it. Don't get too maudlin. Don't get too depressed. Don't let those kind of negative feelings about the end of the Klopp era get under your skin, because it ain't the end until we play those last few games. And let's make sure it's the maximum amount. And we have all these glittery things to go and see a big old parade, because can you imagine how drunk Jürgen's going to be at that parade? I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait. And if the thing in Dublin happens, the lad's in trouble. I'm going to find him, and I'm going to absolutely hammer several whiskies down his throat, because he's a legend, and we have enjoyed very much talking about him and the team this evening. From Cam Brainch, from myself, Trev Downey, this is the Anfield Index Podcast. As Cam says, if you have any sense at all, you're listening to all things Anfield Index, some of the best fan content, not just Liverpool, I mean in terms of sport in general, going is on Anfield Index. Get your ears around it. If you're only listening to us, spread the word about this show, but then also get stuck into the deep well of fantastic stuff that's available on all the channels. We'll wrap it up there, and we'll see you soon.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index, And find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do overthink everything.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
I should just get fake plants.
It's the President's Day sale at Mattress Firm. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. See a lower price? We'll match it. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.